Welcome to our KUJH J699 show. I'm Natalie Sytek.
And I'm Kieran Henderson.
A recently renovated building in Overland Park aiming to preserve history. Now open to the public, visitors can see the new facility. What once stood as King Louis in the 1960s has now become a center for arts and heritage in Johnson County.
Have saved the building. Certainly it's an iconic building built in the early 60s.
It was the end of an era when King Louis closed in 2009.
They learned to ice skate here. They went on their first date here. They used to come here for birthday parties.
With a bowling alley, an ice skating rink, and billiards, King Louis had it all. But the building was getting old and needed several renovations. In 2014, the county decided to transform the building into something slightly different, but with the same idea in mind.
Have certainly effectively repurposed this building.
The Johnson County Arts and Heritage Center would be a place where people could gather and reminisce on the history of the county. With a museum, a theater, a dance and art studio, and event space inside, all ages could enjoy.
There's something here for everybody.
And several visitors have come to the facility since it reopened in June. People are fascinated with how the building has maintained to preserve history.
There's one family actually who lived in the electric house that's in the museum that came in to visit their old home.
I really enjoyed this. It just took me back to the days when I was a lot younger than I am now.
Every time I've come in here, I've learned something new about the building, about the county, about the community as a whole.
I think we were both kind of struck by just learning so much about the local community through the history of the time here.
It's really cool to see how the heritage has blended in with all of the new things that are coming in.
Decades later, King Louis is still an icon of Overland Park that will forever be remembered. Reporting live from the Johnson County Arts and Heritage Center for KUJH, I'm Natalie Sytek. The Johnson County Arts and Heritage Center is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Violent crime is up 43% in Lawrence since 2015. An increase of over 100 crimes has pushed Lawrence into the 300 violent crimes total range for 2016. Dan Garrett was home during a break-in conducted by a homeless man who had been recruited to work on and clean the interior of his home.
The first night I was sleeping there, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, the back door opens to the basement, and a man walked in my room and flicked on the light. And I shot out of bed, and I was able to register that it was one of the homeless people that had been cleaning our house. And I was, like, surprisingly more calm than I thought I would be in that situation, but I just, like, was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, it seemed to be, like, drugged out of his mind or drunk, and he was stumbling around, and he was like, I came to get something, and he's still coming towards my bed. And then my roommate's dog started barking and like hit the door trying to get to me, but he couldn't. And then the guy just turned around and ran. And so I knew who he was. He was one of the workers, and I knew he was homeless at the time. And so what we found out that all the workers of the house left our back door unlocked and were coming in at night and roaming our house and stealing from us.
That is scary stuff, and the positive that came out of that was no one was hurt, and the crew that was working for the landlord has since been replaced.
Returning students might see a few changes to parts of campus when they come back for classes. Construction has changed many spots around the university.
For the summer, construction has taken over campus. Memorial Drive is closed due to new construction. New stairs are being introduced on the west side, and the planned finish date is August 18th. Crescent Road, leading to Jayhawk Boulevard, is closed to all traffic, including pedestrians. The intersection will reopen on August 1st. The construction of the new Geography building is nearing completion, with a raised bridge linking it to Eaton Hall. The rebuilt Burge Union has advanced, along with much of the preliminary construction east of Daisy Hill.
Driving down 23rd Street has become a hassle for drivers in Lawrence due to construction, and most people tend to try and avoid traveling down 23rd Street for that reason. The difficulty in moving through traffic has had a big impact on the restaurants and other businesses lined up along the street. Taco John's reported a 40% decrease in sales. The entrance and exit for the restaurant were blocked off by construction, and the construction crew was forced to build a new entrance for Taco John's customers to use so that the restaurant wouldn't lose all of its business and have some dedicated customers continue to drive sales. Next door at Potbelly Sandwich Shop, workers were visibly upset and vocal about only having one family in the store during what would normally be a lunch rush. Both restaurants were not sure of how much longer the construction would be going on, but were waiting for business to resume as normal once it was finished. Raytown residents signed a petition to save the only water park in their city.
And residents are having to look elsewhere to beat the summer heat. A Raytown attraction closed for the summer, the decision affecting the community.
It's more than just a water park.
Allie Lukey worked at the Super Splash for more than 8 years.
It makes me sad for the kids in the Raytown community who don't have a place to swim this summer.
President of Raytown Parks Board, Terry Copeland, says money is the big issue.
It needs about $500,000 worth of things to make it safe.
Copeland says it's up to the people of Raytown to express what they want.
See if the voters want to authorize further taxation to fund a water attraction.
Raytown resident and parent Lee Taylor is optimistic Super Splash will reopen.
We just have to find a way or figure out how to get the budget to get that.
On the first day of summer, the crown jewel of Raytown abandoned. Reporting from Super Splash, I'm Natalie Sytek. Officials say it's possible Super Splash could reopen next season if a tax increase is implemented.
Kansas may be in the center of the country, and seafood can sometimes be hard to come by. That is, unless you're on Mass Street in Lawrence. Christian Hardy gives us a look inside the Mass Street Fish House.
My name is Keelan Boyle. We're at Mass Street Fish House in Rabar. I'm going to walk you through some of the oysters that we got in fresh this morning. So this is our Chesapeake oyster. It comes from Chesapeake Bay. Basically, the way you shuck an oyster is you get it in a keyhole position just like that, and from there you literally just turn it like a key. Pops open, and it's called a bivalve, so there's two different valves. You kind of go across the top shell, break it loose, and then you kind of loosen up the bottom. So that's our Chesapeake. This is our Wellfleet oyster. Really easy to open. They've got that green kind of on the outside because it's grown in a really moss-heavy and algae-heavy environment. This one kind of has a green tint to it as well. So a couple of classic pairings that we do with the oysters. We've got our house-made cocktail sauce, which is ketchup, a couple other secret ingredients. So these are our oysters today. This is how you cook oysters. We're at 719 Massachusetts. Come down and try them out. They're fresh 5 days a week.
We'll be right back with Sean Collins for sports right after this break. Stay with us.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Welcome back. I'm Sean Collins giving you the update on sports. Last week, Thursday, Kansas basketball had a special night during the NBA draft. The former freshman forward Josh Jackson went 4th overall to the Phoenix Suns. The Naismith Player of the Year, Frank Mason, went 4th overall to the Sacramento Kings.
Well, with the 34th pick in the 2017 NBA Draft, the Sacramento Kings select Frank Mason from the University of Kansas. The Wooden Award winner goes in the second round, 34th overall. Each of the last 12 Wooden Award winners went in the lottery, but this guy showed incredible toughness and leadership and was just brilliant for Bill Self's team over the course of his career.
Mason took to Twitter to make a promise to the teams that didn't select him. Both Mason and the Jayhawks coach Bill Self agreed Sacramento is a good landing spot. Landon Lucas wasn't drafted, but earned a roster spot for the Boston Celtics summer team. Over in Indianapolis, incoming freshman swimmer Lauren Parrish placed 94th at the Phillips 66 National Championships. Her time of 57.92 in the 100-meter was a personal record. Kansas senior libero Cassie Waite was nominated for the NCAA Woman of the Year award. Wade has won a Big 12 championship, Big 12 Libero of the Year, and is an AVCA All-American. Kansas athletes competed in the U.S. Track and Field National Championships and the NCAA National Championships this month. Our reporter Brendan Dworzynski covered the event.
Jayhawks of yesterday and today competed in major track events over the past month, as Kansas was represented at both the U.S. Track Championships and the NCAA Nationals. Last week in Sacramento, California at the U.S. Championships, former Kansas standouts Michael Stigler, Mason Finley, and Andrea Jabel were all finishers in the top 3 of their respective events. Stigler, a 4-time All-American at Kansas, finished second in the 400-meter hurdles, earning himself a spot on Team USA for the World Championships in London this August. This is the most recent step in Stigler's comeback after a hamstring injury cut his 2016 Olympic hope short last year. Finley is also headed to London after winning the discus for the 2nd consecutive year. Last summer, Finley represented the United States in Rio at the Olympic Games and finished 11th. Jabel, who won 3 different NCAA championships while at Kansas, finished 3rd in the triple jump. She competed in the same event at last year's Summer Olympics. At the NCAA championships in Eugene, Oregon, the Kansas men finished in 11th place as a team, while the women finished in 18th. The men's competition for the Jayhawks was highlighted by Braden Adams' All-American performance in the triple jump, which he finished 3rd in, and a 6th place All-American finish in the discus by Mitch Cooper. For the women, this is the 4th time in the last 7 NCAA outdoor meets in which Kansas has finished in the top 25. Florida won the national championship for the men as a team, and Oregon won the women's national title.
For the 9th year in a row, Kansas football will start its season against an FBS team. Brendan has more.
He's going to take it to the house. 25-20, 15-10-5, a touchdown.
While Kansas football has struggled on the field in recent years, the team's scheduling has remained consistent. This is especially true when it comes to season opening games, as Kansas has started each of the last 8 seasons against an FCS opponent, a trend it will continue in 2017 when Southeast Missouri State comes to Memorial Stadium. FCS teams, formerly known as Division I AA, are paid by FBS teams to play. In exchange, the FBS team gets a home game it doesn't have to return, and it also gets a game with a high win probability. For Larry Keating, the Kansas athletic staff member in charge of football scheduling, paying for an FCS game is simply a matter of having as many home games as possible.
Each year we have three non-conference games to schedule, and the object is to have at least 6 home games every year, so you can't do that without buying a game.
While the appeal of a high win probability is a plus when scheduling FCS teams, the games aren't guaranteed wins. Kansas has lost 2 games against FCS opponents in the past 8 years, the most recent one coming against South Dakota State in 2015. In that same time period, the only other Big 12 teams to lose to an FCS opponent are Kansas State with 1 and Iowa State with 3 such losses. From the opposite perspective, while an FCS team is normally a heavy underdog against an FBS team, the financial impact of playing these games can be beneficial to the smaller programs.
Southeast Missouri and the schools that come in are looking for a payday. They'll sell a couple of games because literally $1 million or $1.5 million can pay for the whole football program.
After knocking off Southeast Missouri State to open the 2014 season, Kansas will look for its 7th FCS win in 9 tries when it hosts the Redhawks again on September 2nd.
Sporting Kansas City remains at the top of the Western Conference at 8-4-6. They hold a 5-point lead over 3 clubs tied for second. Down in Houston, Sporting got a road victory in a 2-0 match against the Dynamo in the 2nd round of the U.S. Open Cup. Droso Fernandez and Iko Para scored. And speaking of Iko Para, what a week the defender had. Opara made a SportsCenter top 10 with this bike kick. The Rec Center isn't losing money, but KU students are going elsewhere. The Rec Center is one of the university's staples for student entertainment and well-being. However, the introduction of the sports pavilion at Rock Chalk Park has drawn some Jayhawks away from the rec.
Every recreation center in town is free and to use by the public, but with Rock Chalk Park, or with the sports pavilion primarily, that we wanted to make sure that people were Douglas County residents. Because
the rec doesn't lose money, as enrolled students are automatic members, but the 15-minute drive to Sports Pavilion is well worth it.
I guarantee some people come here just because you guys have a turf soccer field, and like up there it's just on the basketball courts, and the track is a lot better up here.
Rock Chalk Park thrives for the university in Douglas County.
You know, I mean, change is the one constant in our lives, you know, and so as we move forward, I'm sure there's other parts of the agreement and partnership that will be enhanced and, you know, and looked at, you know, but for now, I think everybody's happy with what we've got.
That wraps it up for sports. Remember, Kansas football has 65 days until their first game. I'm Sean Collins. Back to you, Natalie.
Thanks, Sean. It's 4th of July this weekend.
So if you're traveling or just popping fireworks, just make sure that you stay safe and have fun this weekend.
Thanks for watching our show. We'll see you next time.